Britain destroyed India through looting, expropriation and outright theft, all conducted in a spirit of deep racism and amoral cynicism. A blistering critique of our colonialist past by a man who was once one of the world's leading diplomats, Shashi Tharoor, now an Indian MP. He's just published his latest book on the iniquities of the British Empire, and its themes have echoes today. Shashi Tharoor is one of India's most outspoken politicians. He's an MP and has been both an ambassador and an Under-Secretary-General of the United Nations. In his latest book, Inglorious Empire, What the British Did to India, Tharoor argues that the British Empire was more about Britain than about India. The great symbols of empire in India, such as the country's rail system, were built for the benefit of the British rather than for Indians.
At Delhi, Lord Louis Mountbatten arrives to take up his appointment as India's Viceroy and Governor-General. At a crucial moment in India's history, the 47-year-old grandson of Queen Victoria becomes the 29th and last Viceroy. The first to hold the office was Viscount Canning in 1858, the 21st year of Queen Victoria's reign. To greet the new Viceroy come the Indian leaders. Pandit Nehru, Oxford-educated leader of the Congress Party, second only to Gandhi. With Nehru, Muslim Abdul Azad, head of the influential Congress Party. Leaving Delhi's Viceregal Lodge is Lord Wavell, outgoing Viceroy. To the Governor-General's bodyguard, Field Marshal Wavell bids farewell. During his term of office, Britain made the decision to leave India. Now it is for Indian leaders to decide the future of their country. Through Karachi's streets drives the Quaid-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Pakistan's first Governor-General. It's Karachi's first day of independence, and the crowds are out to greet him and Earl Mountbatten. On his last day as Viceroy, he is here to inaugurate the transfer of power. To the members of Pakistan's first Constituent Assembly, Lord Louis reads a message from the King proclaiming the new dominion. Britain and Pakistan part as friends, he said, both members of the British Commonwealth of Nations. "600 miles away in Delhi, Independence Day was also a day of rejoicing. Tumultuous crowds filled the streets, celebrating, singing and laughing. Police were called out many times to restore order, where everyone ran wild with joy. Outside the Constituent Assembly, crowds again broke through the police cordon. From the balcony of the building, Pandit Nehru, India's first Premier, urges the crowd to let the procession move through. Earl Mountbatten's car was surrounded by thousands of wildly cheering people. In the afternoon, the Mountbattens, with their daughter Pamela, took part in the festivities. Only 6 months ago, ex-SEAC Chief Lord Louis was appointed Viceroy. Today, we recognize that the friendly, understanding manner which made him so popular as service commander helps him to face yet another task, to be the first Governor-General of the new Indian Dominion. In London, the flags of the new Indian Union flutter over the headquarters of India and Pakistan. An era has ended, a new epoch begins. A subcontinent larger than the whole of Europe becomes two self-governing dominions within the British Commonwealth of Nations. After less than a century under the British Crown, India's most crucial hour has struck. 5 months ago, Earl Wavell left Delhi to be succeeded by Earl Mountbatten. Under Queen Victoria's great-grandson, the transfer of power is completed. Pandit Nehru, Congress leader, is India's Prime Minister. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Muslim chief, becomes Pakistan's Governor-General. Baldev Singh takes over India's defense. Liaquat Ali Khan is Pakistan's first Premier. The Nawab of Bhopal is one of the princes who has joined the Indian Union. Mahatma Gandhi, the 78-year-old mystic, stands inscrutable and aloof. Today, the fate of 400 million Indians is in the hands of these leaders. During the past 200 years, the British gave India law and order. They built roads and railways. They irrigated the lands. But India's future welfare largely depends upon communal harmony. 40 million Muslims will live in India, 18 million Hindus in Pakistan. Stirred by intense religious passion, communal strife has shed much blood. It still continues. Can Hindus and Muslims live peacefully together? In India, nearly everyone is hungry. When they are too frail to beg, they die. And each year, famine claims 7 million. Economically, India and Pakistan are interdependent. Success of the new regimes may ultimately depend on whether India's leaders can improve rapidly the general standard of living. To people like these, the heart of India, the word freedom is empty. To the average Indian, his rulers mean little. Democracy is just a word unheard of by the majority. This is the real challenge to Nehru and to Jinnah. Britain has fulfilled her mission. It is for India herself now to make her destiny. Years of independence for India. And in the footsteps of her father, Pandit Nehru, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister, was watched by thousands as she walked the same path that 21 years earlier he had followed with Lord Mountbatten to unfurl for the first time the Indian national flag. Along the ramparts of the historic Red Fort, she greeted diplomats from other countries and leading figures from Indian national life. Then came the proud moment as she prepared to unfurl the tricolour. India had come of age, but Mrs. Gandhi, addressing the nation later, reminded them of the many difficulties they faced. Despite the farmers' efforts to increase food output, there was still hunger. She deplored the strikes and student demonstrations and said there must be unity.
Next episode of Knowledge. This one looking at the Indian rebellions. As you see, this is supposedly a rebellion against British Empire. So apparently, according to this story, the British Empire had took over India, and then obviously the Indians rebelled against it and stuff like that. But there's interest occurred in this because they call it the Indian Mutiny. It's known as the Indian Mutiny. The first thing is seen as the Moo idea, like the multiculturalism. You see this book here by Saul David, again the Jewish connections. But they call it, they refer to it as the mutiny, like the Moo and the tin. Now the tin, as I showed in that other one, is the Jew, the tin jaggers. And they're looking at it the other way with the rebel lion. The lion is the Indian symbol. This isn't so long ago in terms of the datelines. But I'm looking at this and just thinking it's basically a hoax. It's that they were the British East India Company and established a presence in India as far back as 1612. Now, of course, how can this be proved in any way other than historical sort of books? And we know exactly who writes all these books. We know who writes them, and now with multiculturalism we know why they wrote them. So I'm just thinking this is a totally works idea. Victory is referring to the Krishna, the Krishna idea, victory for Krishna. And of course the Queen there that came a bit later was called Queen Victoria. So I think the entire British Empire in India is a hoax, basically. The increasing pace of westernization. Hindu society affected by introduction of Western ideas. See what I'm saying? So what they're saying is with this, the British went over there, right? And they, inflicted Western ideas on them. But, as we know now, this stuff's all run by Jews. There's no British involved in that, basically. There's no British involved in any government, in any royalty and aristocracy, right? In any type of, local councils or running of anything. It's all Jewish, right? So how they get this idea of blaming the British peoples for doing all this, And then you might say, wait, Jews were leading it, right? And they were leading the sort of the British people to do it, right? But again, is it more feasible, right, that happened? Or that someone's just written in a fake story, right? And called it this historical fact. The fake story becomes historical fact. So you see they're referring to a set point mutiny. Of course, we know the lie about everything. The lie about news on the very day it's released, like 9/11, perfect example. So how much easier is it to make a lie of something that supposedly happened 400 years ago? See, it's a no-brainer. Things like this, sort of every person of any type of importance to them, right, has some type of Jewish or Indian link. Now this type of thing, Joanna Lumley, which of course, now of British television and all this, was actually born in India, Kashmir, Jammu. So all this type of quintessentially English people and all this are coming across from these areas, and this all ties in with the type of colonialist idea, So I always say that, when the British took over these places, is that necessarily have to be true, right? Or is it more likely that the opposite? These people came from India, and that explains it. They're from India. If you've seen the polymorphic video out there about the polymorphic daffodils, right, which become the Jewish star, the polymorphic idea is very much in play with these characters, because they can have a white skin or can have a darker skin, right? There's a bit of a Lumley in the Jewish Chronicle, You've got any traceability to Jewishness, they're not going to be included in this stuff. You know what I mean? And we see another type of face from the quintessentially English British television type of ideas is Felicity Kendall. Right? See, they're talking about a Jewish identity. And converted to Judaism. Second marriage, of course, you convert to Judaism, you're born into a type of thing, by being one of their trances. And of course, this one was again born in India, right? So the connection between the Jewish and Indian idea is getting more and stronger all the time. Right? And your colonialism idea is looking more like a total con job. Just to be fake and not fake as. And this woman's apparently born in England but lived in India. Right, so you know what I mean? Again, you got the Jewish and the Indian connections.